Hello students and welcome to Architects Academy Virtual Classroom. Today we are going to see a lecture on AutoCAD training. So today's topic is how to use the trim command in AutoCAD. Today we are going to learn about the trim command. So let us see what the trim command does first. So for that, first what I will do is I will go to the line command and draw one line, horizontal line, and one vertical line. Now as you can see here, these two lines are crossing each other, meaning they are intersecting each other, and therefore if we want to get rid of only part of the line, that is from the end point here to the point of intersection, we'll be using the the trim command for this. So for that, the command is trim. The shortcut for that is TR. So what you will see is on the keyboard, you can just enter TR and press the enter key, and you'll be taken to the trim command. Now, as soon as you go to the trim command, first it is going to ask you to select the objects. But this means that you are going to select the trimming edge first. So let us say that we want to get rid of this particular part of the line. Then this is not to be selected first. What we are supposed to select is the trimming edge, which is being highlighted here right now. So that is what it means by seeing select objects. So what I will do is I will just simply select this line, and once that is done, I will press the enter key, and once that is done, it is going to ask me to select object to trim. So select object to trim, that is what it is saying. And then what I will do is I will go to that particular part of the line which I want to trim and click on it, and that part will be trimmed. So this is how we first select the trimming edge and then select the line to be trimmed. Now one more point you can remember here is that this line cannot be trimmed because it is not actually crossing this line, and therefore if you want to get rid of this line, the only way that we can do it is erase it. So we can go to erase and just simply erase this line. Let us bring back this particular line by pressing the U command, that is the undo command, and now we have got our lines back. Let us try to trim this part of the line from this end point to the intersection in the same way. When we do that, we are going to go to the trim command here, which is there in the ribbon. So it will be either seen here, or you will have to press this small arrow and then choose between extend or trim. So I will go to trim, and then what I will do is, since I want to trim this particular line, I'll first select the cutting edge, which is this. So I'll just simply first select this edge, and then I will press enter. And once I press enter, it is going to ask me to select object to trim. That means I will just simply select this object and it will get trimmed. So this is how the trim command is to be used for trimming lines or any other type of entities in AutoCAD. Now, can the trim command be used with other entities? Let us try it. For example, let us say there is a circle. Therefore, I draw a circle, and within that circle, suppose I draw a line which is going across this circle. Now, if I want to get rid of this part of the circle, then I can do that by using the trim command. So for that, let me go to the trim command again, and now it is asking me for cutting edge first. So this is the cutting edge which I will have to select to trim this part of the circle. So first I will select this line and press enter, and then when it is asking me to select object to trim, I will select this line so that this particular part of the circle will get trimmed. So as you can see, not only lines but circles and other objects can also be trimmed. In fact, you can also trim hatched objects, and therefore trim is a universally used command to trim many objects in AutoCAD. Now suppose that instead of just these 1 or 2 lines, you were supposed to trim many lines. So I will just do that. I will just make a grid of lines like this. I will draw a line and then copy those lines at a certain random distance like this, and then I will also draw another line here, a horizontal line, and then copy that line again randomly like this to form a sort of a grid. Now imagine that we have to take out lines which are alternate lines within the grid like this. So first I would like to take out this part of the line, then in this part of the line, then in this part of the line, and so on. So alternate lines like this, I want them to be trimmed. Then using the trim command like we had used earlier would be too tedious, which would mean that suppose I want to get rid of this line, I would have to choose this and this as the cutting edge, and then I would have to trim this line. Then again, to trim this part, I will have to use this and this as the cutting edge, and then trim this line, and so on. So that would take a long time. So instead of that, what you can do is, when you go to the trim command, you can press TR, and instead of pressing enter once, you press enter twice, or you can also use the space bar and enter the space bar twice. So twice you can click on the space bar, and then what is going to happen is that all these lines in the grid are going to be automatically selected like the cutting edges, and now I can easily trim any line within this grid which I want to trim. For example, I can trim this particular part, then this line, and this line, and this line, and like that. So I can go on choosing lines like this to trim, and this is what we will get. So this type of command, trim and double space, or trim and double enter, is to be used only when we want to trim many lines at a time. Now let us see one more function in which trim is inbuilt. We have already seen the fillet command. Now let us say that we have got one line like this, and there is another line which is drawn like this, which could be at a distance or which could be touching this line. Now when we use the fillet command, we want to fillet this line and this line so that this will form a corner here. The fillet command also trims part of the line which is extended beyond the corner. For example, let us see. I'll go to the fillet command here. I can either go to fillet command from here, or I can type in F and enter. That is a shortcut for fillet. So I'll just say F and enter, and then I will choose this line and this line. Just observe what has happened is that this part of the line has automatically got trimmed. So the fillet also combines trim, and therefore we can quickly trim lines by using the fillet command also. So I hope that you understand how to use the trim command. Before we close, I would like to show you another example of trim. For example, now I will copy this particular line here and here. Now suppose I want to just get rid of this particular line. Then it is important that I choose both the cutting edges which are bounding this line, and therefore I will go to trim and first choose this and this as the cutting edge, then press enter, and then I can get rid of this central line. Of course, remember that this line cannot be trimmed, or this line cannot be trimmed, since it is not crossing any line. They are individual lines, and therefore to get rid of these lines I will have to use the erase command, that is E for short, and then I will have to simply erase these lines. They cannot be trimmed. So I hope this trim command is clear to you. Stay tuned for more AutoCAD lectures from Architects Academy. Thank you.